The angels don't marry because you're married for life already. There ain't no more ceremony that's going to go on. So y'all, we have to understand that if you say, look, I want you to be my wife, you're not worried about no piece of paperwork. That don't concern you. Why would that concern you? The only thing you could be concerned about is what happens
when it go haywire.
If it go haywire. If it go haywire, I signed the contract in the beginning, but you don't have to sign that contract. But the script say there has to be public acknowledgement. It has to be. Jacob had a brother, he called everybody, come and see the wedding. Come and see me giving my daughter away. Ain't no father gonna give his daughter away unless you hand it out. You got to do it. He gonna tell you, no, partner, what you plan on doing? Shacking with my daughter for the rest of y'all life? That ain't happening. Now, what you want the ceremony to be? And I hit him up, and we'll be there. And by the way, where you work? Where y'all gonna live? Because you can't live under here. And doing all that howling I heard last night. And I trusted you and told you to sleep in that room and you wound up in howling. Let's get on, though. But that's what it is, bro. If you bring that one contract in, you got to bring them all in. You can't pick and choose custom contracts. Your birth certificate tells when you were born. Absolutely, the day you was born. All this contract doing is telling you the day we got married. That's all it's doing. Because if it don't, you gotta. Can you remember even the woman with the first day it was? She can remember. You can't. She can tell you when the first time. It was on a Thursday. You can't. How she done? You don't remember? Hell, you was asleep 2 minutes after that. You wake up, look. We do something. Look at Genesis, chapter 46, verse 20. That's all we want to read is this one. Go ahead.
And unto Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, which Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, priest of On, bare unto him.
So he married a woman. Those two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, are given an inheritance when Jacob came. And this is with an Egyptian wife. So how do you think that marriage was? Not only that, when they came, the Egyptian, what type of clothes did he have on?
Egyptian gone.
He had on Egyptian clothes. They said that Egyptian was harsh with us. He was second in command in Egypt at that time. So you know the wedding ceremony wasn't of Hebrew art. So this is what I'm saying. That custom, the paperwork is what the paperwork is. Wasn't nobody going to step to Potiphar's wife, his daughter, and she knows he belonged with him. Because this the deal. His wife, at the first time, tried to get with Joseph. And Joseph had to turn out his clothes. He pulled out his coat. You know how when somebody taking your graphic and you pull out of the sleeves and keep running. I got your coat. He's like, well, you ain't got my rear end. I'm gone. I'm in the wing. And that's what happened. And she took his clothes. She said that Hebrew was in his bed. She mad because he wouldn't lay with her. Look, I got his clothes. He naked somewhere right now. If y'all go find it, Joseph in jail. So at that point, Joseph knew the law of God. He said, I can't commit adultery with you. My master will never forgive me. So those laws were in place. They understood that marriage is universal. Just like music is universal. Mathematics is universal. There are some things that's universal. You can't bias mathematics. You can't fix math equation geometry where it works for the Chinese and don't work for us. You can't do marriage like that either. How? On our basic skill, they only did that on the
I'm talking about algebra.
Algebra, there's brilliant Hebrew algebraists. That's one right there. But what I'm talking about is the fact that when they do what they call culturally biased, when they have a cup, I'm going to say this, y'all, we're going to move on, and a table, and a saucer. And they say which two go together. Culturally biased, when you out in Chesterfield, the cup go with the saucer. And you sip it. But in the ghetto, if you lucky you got a cup, take that cup, put some Kool-Aid in, and go sit there at that table. Cup go with table. But if I pick that, what's happening on my Iowa basic skill? I get it wrong. But that's in my culture. Ain't no salsa. You don't sip like this from a cup and saucer. They do that out there. Out here, you go to the table with that cup. Get your to that table with that cup before you spill that Kool-Aid on my foot. So we go by what we do culturally, but you can't do mathematics like that. You can't do marriage like that. You cannot do it because it's universal. Just like music is universal. I don't care how the Britons talk. When they start singing, it sounds like Blue-Eyed Soul. You know, they can talk with that accent. You know, it don't matter what accent, but when you sing, it's a universal song. It sounds just like, man, it sounds like, that's a white woman, man, I thought that was a brother. Because when you start to sing the lyrics, it's universal. That's what music is. There's certain things, when David played the Run Good, there's certain things that are universal. Marriage is one of them. You don't have to worry about the paperwork. And like I say, if you worried about it, it's the same thing. Same thing if you getting a new car. It say 5 years, $300 a month. If you buy it and you saying that 5 years mean to me, you gave me 5 years, so if I don't pay for 4 years, maybe I can catch it all up in the 5th year. You know that ain't what they mean. I ain't gonna pay a note to year 5. No, that ain't what they mean. So the same thing with marriage contract. Marriage is for life. They say you become one flesh, it's for life. So if you thinking anything else before you go down there, don't go down there. You're wasting your time because you're looking for a loophole if a problem. If it's a problem, don't go. If already you caught, you like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna get it. Ooh, clipping them toenails at the table. And see me eat. If that's the problem before you go down there, and it don't look like it's gonna stop no time soon, why you down there? Unless you accept that. So if you go down there, they say this is the only way we're gonna make it work for you. The only way we're going to give you benefits. Tax benefits, the whole nine. If you want this, show us a piece of paper.
I think that was a good analogy when you use the Messiah being married unto us.
Right.
And then we can't be married to each other. I said, then we can't be married to each other, meaning that he can do this for us,
right,
showing us the way.
Right. You know? What time is it? Y'all ready to get ready to get so I just want to hit a couple more. Let's get right into the main thing of it. Let's because it talked about the rings, y'all. We just want to hit a couple on rings, then we're gonna hit Christ, and then we're gonna close out. Where we at? Ring 30, Exodus 35:21. What we gonna talk about when we talking about jewelry? Okay, so we shouldn't wear jewelry or we shouldn't do things, and we're gonna see that jewelry was worn, but it was never a symbol to say, okay, this is a covenant, I'll give you a ring. But they gave tokens because we see that when he went to get Isaac's wife, Rebecca, his servant took his gift to him, gave her some bracelets. What he had to do was prove that he could take care of her. Right? Today in this customer land, they say a ring ought to be worth how many weeks' salary?
A year's salary.
A year's salary. Well, that's going to be a problem in Israel. Because
I gotta stay with a job a year.
That's why y'all gonna roll through these right quick just to understand when rings were used, because a lot of times we'll say Israel never did have rings or they never had jewelry like that. And most of this jewelry was from Egypt. Most of this jewelry was the spoil of somebody. You can have it like this, and yeah, this is the Egyptian such and such. But we have to understand it. Where did those jewelry come from? And they wore rings and different things. This is all we just establishing that rings existed with Israel. Of course. Because a lot, right. But if you're saying that they gave him a ring and a man got on one knee, no. Maybe rough for an older man. You know, so. But that was showing honor that the woman was above you when you get down on
Exactly.
because you're bowing to her. You know, and you giving her the token. It's the other way around in the scripture. You give her the token, and we're going to see as she bowed, you know, your reverence over me, not the other way around. This is the custom of this land to do that, but they don't force you to do nothing. We do that of our own free will to prove to her mama.
See, girl, he got on his knees. Got him on his knees.
Right. Let's get it.
Exodus chapter 35, verse 21. And they came, everyone whose heart stirred him up,
Right.
and everyone whom his spirit made willing.
Right.
And they brought the Lord's offering to the work of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Now what happened is the Lord said, set up my congregation after we come out of Egypt. and the hearts that was willing to come and help out with the service. Let's see what he say, Brian.
Okay. And for all his service, and for the whole, let me start that over. And they came, everyone whose heart stirred him up, and everyone whom his spirit made willing. And they brought the Lord's offering to the work of the tabernacle of the congregation.
Right.
And for all his service, and for the holy garments. And they came, both men and women, as many as were willing, hearted, and brought bracelets.
What they bring?
And brought bracelets.
Right.
And earrings.
Right.
And rings. And tablets. All jewels of gold. And every man that offer an offering of gold unto the Lord.
See, now, where they get this jewelry from?
Egypt.
Where they get these rings from? But the Most High is taking that jewelry and gonna melt it all down, and they're gonna participate to it all. But this is free will, because the Egyptian gave you that spoil, and he's saying, if your heart is willing, you part with it. You like, I know it's fabulous, but this gonna be in on the temple of the Lord. That's the spoils of war. You know, coming out of that, so they gave up those jewels in building of the ark. So we can't say that was a wicked custom or origin for jewelry. It's not, because the Most High is using it here.
Right.
He didn't ever say that, no, don't bring me those abominable rings out of Egypt.
Right. You didn't pay for them out your pocket.
You didn't. So they gave up those things so they had on jewelry.
Judah had bracelets on.
Right.
He got with Tamar, he gave his
Right.
staff, signals,
Right.
and bracelets.
Right. So we wore jewels. We did it because they know what we like. It ain't nothing under the sun that we wear jewelry. All the nations know it. Jacob the jeweler knows it. Huh?
That's how he got so rich.
Right. Let's get it.
And also, when like the Proverbs, when the Most High tells us to wear wisdom around us like a gold necklace.
Right.
And then is it Ezekiel 16 when he tells us how he raises up and put the best jewels on us?
Right. Right, in spirit, because we know how Satan was covered up on high. What was he covered with? All the green, all of that. So when we talk about the origin of everything is Christ and his Father. All of it. Satan just take what the Most High do and he turns it into vanity. If you want to wear a ring, make it so you floss in front of everybody. You know, you just shine. Look at them. Oh, that little cloud that you got on. So you get you one of these here that's clearer than HD. See, if that makes you vain, that's what Satan wants to do. Make you vain with the custom. Yeah, the origin of the wickedness of it there came from Satan. But Satan was blinked out at the beginning. The Most High blinked him. But just like his heart got high and pride, he's doing that same thing to you. It don't mean you can't wear jewelry. It just means you can't let it become prideful to you. You can't leave out the house unless you got it on. It make you. You don't make the jewelry.
And then this right here in 21, it says, and they came, everyone whose heart stirred him up, and everyone whose spirit made willing.
Right.
And they brought that to the Most High. So they took their gold and everything from their free will and gave it to the Most High. You don't know brothers and sisters that'll do that now. Here go my gold chain.
Right.
You harm me, ain't got none to eat, go climb.
Right.
Don't nobody do that, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Because
those
it's
are-
vanity. Now,
Yeah.
and you think that makes you. You know, and you have on all that, and you think that makes you. Because that's what the rapper sings. Go to Jacob, pop some bottles. That's it. And that's what we do at the club, ain't it? Let's get it. Where we at?
Verse 23. And every man with whom was found blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen and goat's hair and red skins of rams and badger skins brought them. Everyone that did offer an offering of silver and brass brought the Lord's offering.
See, it was the Lord's offering, and where do you think they got all this gold? They pull their rings out their ears, rings off their fingers. The Lord is building something. You know, this is gold. You see, because it ain't no problem with you parting with this stuff. It's the problem when you can't do that.
And it makes you as if that's your God or something. You coveting.
You covet it. You can't part with it. That's why I say if you look back at your Cadillac when it's time to go, your mortgage was just approved. You ain't heard them words never in your life.
Now it's time to go. It's time to go.
Right. White folks say you have all the cool sayings. It sayings, black people. No, some of them got cool sayings, white folks. Your mortgage is approved. That's a cool saying. Let's get it going, y'all.
Okay. Verse 24. And every man whom was found shittim wood, for any work of the service brought it. And all the women that were wise-hearted did spend their hands, and brought that which they had spun, both of blue and of purple and of scarlet and of fine linen. And all the women whose hearts stirred them up in wisdom spun goat's hair. And the rulers brought onyx stones and stones to be set for the ephod and for the breastplate.
You can hold that. And see, the only reason we'll start worrying about onyx stone because it said it's tied to horoscopes. You know, because we said we got a move ring on.
Yeah, but the verse-
It's before that.
Right, exactly.
You,
Like the,
you know, so we have to go ahead, man.
astrological signs.
We're going to hit these last few, y'all. We're going to close out. We got no one to pass over right quick. Go ahead.
This right here, this is something real quick to go on with Daniel talking about. This is Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 39, verse 26 and 27. It says, "For the good are good things created from the beginning, so evil things for sinners. The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of the grape, and oil and clothing. All these things are for good to the godly, so to the sinners they are turned into evil."
See, and that's what happens. So the Most High made everything. He made regular clothing, or you can wear, or you wearing these jeans because this superstar wearing. You want to wear Rockaway jeans because he wearing. You think they're going to give you a $300 million contract? Or do they pull you into the legions of Luciferians? You know, but if you just look at them as a pair of jeans, that's what you do. After I wear them to a club a couple of times, you may see me changing the starter. Yeah. Man, you working in your good jeans? Cutting grass. No, you just look at it as clothing like everything else. Let's keep it moving. Genesis 24, y'all, we're going to roll through these right quick. Hit that 22 and what, 24? 22 and 24. Yeah, these just quick ones, y'all. One hitters, y'all read the whole story right there, what we just talking about. 22. Yeah, hit that. Genesis.
The book of Genesis, chapter 24, verse 22.
Go ahead.
"And it came to pass, as the camels had done drinking, that the man took a golden earring."
Now this is Eliezer, Abraham's understudy. He was told to go back and get Rebekah to wife for Isaac. He said, Isaac need a wife. He said, go back to my people. And this is what he didn't go empty handed. He went with a gift or something to prove, like we offer a ring, he went and offered something else. Go ahead, what did he offer?
It says that the man took a golden earring.
What did he take?
A golden earring.
Right.
Of half a shekel weight.
For a shekel weight. Go ahead.
And 2 bracelets.
And 2 what?
2 bracelets
Right.
for her hands, and 10 shekels weight of gold.
10 shekels weight of gold. These top flight bracelets he bringing. And because what he's saying, when I bring her back to Isaac, you ain't got to worry about her starving. Look at the gifts we are offering her right now. So in like manner, that's where women kind of get the thing, 2 years salary for a ring or something. You have to be able to assign to her parents that she ain't gonna starve. This is why they call females. They come with a fee, y'all.
That was
You understand? Let's get it. Let's go to Luke 14.
I like that one. Bruh knows the truth. I'm with me. Meaning what? A man has to be able to handle his business.
Right.
You ain't just mooching.
Luke 14, y'all. And we're going to hit these couple on the side, y'all. We're going to close out. We got a couple more, plenty more of these duties, y'all. This could be a 5-session study. But y'all, it's different things in the land, y'all, but don't fear no contract if your heart is right. The Most High say, if that contract say, when you are married in this land, you are marrying to yourselves and the God of Zeus, the God of Adam. Then you can't get under our contract. But they let you make your own wedding vow. The only deal is we fall into the tradition of having to have a priest, a reverend, that so to speak. But you don't. Go down to the courthouse, have 2 witnesses, these 2 brothers. All they gonna do is witness, they gonna sign their signature there, and then you throw a feast. You invite everybody, and you have the ceremony that you want. It's still public record downtown. You don't have to have the preacher from Sunny Mount there. You don't. It's already, you already have a signed license, right? He don't have to be there, and you make your own vows like Tobit them did in the 8th chapter of the book of Tobit. Tobiah. That's all you have to do, and you like, we wrote our own vows, y'all think, and you have a ceremony. Who in the crowd gonna say, this ain't right where they preach at? Unless they don't understand the law. The bottom line is, we got paperwork that's downtown that says, right here, husband and wife, signed 2 months ago, that they are husband and wife. This is what they doing is legal.
Face correct.
So that's the whole deal, but we thinking that because he's down there, ain't no preacher down in the courthouse. It's a court-appointed thing. They stamp that thing and say, boom, okay, it's legal according to the state of Missouri. That's it, y'all. If you don't even want to go through that, go through a lawyer. But you have to change her surname. You go to a lawyer, give me power of attorney. I want Lucinda here. Say anything happened to me, Henry Wilcox, I want her to have everything. Right. And that's it, y'all. You got paperwork, right? You ain't got to go do nothing else if you don't want to do it. It's not, marriage is not forced. And if you thinking of anything else, somebody gonna come in between it. The only reason somebody comes in between is because y'all at odds. And y'all going back to the only people that can separate. Same way when we had to give a right of divorce, a priest had to sign. Even in our land. Let's get it. These last two, y'all, we're going to close out. Go ahead. That's Luke 14. Start at verse 7.
Luke 14, verse 7.
And we're talking about giving gifts to different things when things are happening. Y'all, this ain't
Luke
nothing
chapter
love.
14, verse 7. And he put forth a parable. And he put forth a parable to those which were bidden when he marked how they chose out the chief rooms, saying unto them, when thou art bidden of any man to a wedding.
When you bid to what?
A wedding.
See, this is Christ talking now. When you're bidding to a wedding, what is a wedding? It's a public ceremony for a man and a woman. You don't have to have a public ceremony to be in your basement with 3 people, just family members, on your side of it. A crazy cousin, your crazy auntie with 2 teeth. And that's what it is. Yeah, they was married, we was there. Go ahead, read that, Malcolm.
When thou art bidden of any man to a wedding, sit not down in the highest room, lest a more honorable man than thou be bidden of him. And he that bade thee and him come and say to thee, get this man place. And thou begin with shame to take the lowest room.
So the Most High said, just don't walk in nowhere because you dressed up and think you can sit in front. I know the family's been knowing my whole life. Elder daughter growed up next door to mine. Went to school with my daughter. You sit down there like, hey partner, this reserved for the auntie from Memphis. You got to get up. Now shamefully, you got to get up and walk back. You're looking for an empty seat now. And guess what an empty seat may be? All the way in the back. So the Most High said, don't be front nowhere. But it's talking about when you're invited to a wedding. Go ahead.
But when thou art bidden, go and sit down in the lowest room, that when he that bade thee cometh, he may say unto thee, friend, go up higher. Then shalt thou have worship in the presence of them that sit at meat with thee. For whosoever exalteth himself shall be abased, and he that humbleth himself shall be exalted.
Give me John chapter 2, verse 1. And y'all, this is all it's saying. The Most High just said, but he's using wedding feast customs that this is a common thing in Israel. Ain't no shame in the game, y'all. If y'all in it for one flesh for the rest of your life, you ain't worried about the court. For what? Huh? You need a driver's license when you go cash a check, what they say. I don't have that custom piece of paper. Look at me. Can't you tell who I say I am? What kind of piece of ID? I said I'm Willie Charles, but that's who I am. They say when you get through Willie Charles, we need an ID. They're going to do it. They're going to do it, right? Go ahead.
All right. John 2 and 1. And the third day there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee.
What was that? This is in the homeland. Christ was from the man from Galilee, wasn't it? What was happening there?
And the mother of Jesus was there.
What was that?
In Cana at a marriage in Galilee. 2. And both Jesus was called and his disciples to the marriage.
See, and this is what I'm saying. They were called to the marriage just like we just read in Luke. They called them, hey, it's a wedding going on. Come on. So what we're seeing is that if you fight against what's the natural part of it, or, like I say, your mind is set on, I'll call you my wife as long as I can just have my way, spread my seed all around. But when you start getting down to talking about paperwork, me too. So don't ask if you want to be by yourself. Let's keep it moving. So you ain't got to fear that. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And when they wanted wine, the mother of Jesus said unto him, they have no wine.
See, now look, they want wine at the feast.
Mary, huh?
Huh? Go ahead.
Feeling good.
Jesus said unto her, Woman, what have I to do with thee? Mine hour is not yet come.
And see, that's what she telling him. She said they want wine. He told his mom, he said, look, mom, you know when I'm going to die, it ain't yet. While I'm here, I can do anything. I'll do it now. My hour ain't yet. Woman, go ahead. What they want? Go ahead. What he tell them?
His mother said unto the servants, Whathersoever he saith unto you, do it.
See, so now we understand that when he told his mother, he didn't cut his mother down. He just told her, the crucifixion ain't yet. While I'm here, I can work this work. And then his mother went, hey, whatever he say, just do whatever he say. It's good, y'all finna taste some wine. Go ahead, bro.
And there were set there 6 water pots of stone, after the manner of the purifying of the Jews, containing 2 or 3 firskins apiece.
Right.
Jesus said unto them, Fill the water pots with water. And they filled them up to the brim. And he said unto them, Draw out now, and bear unto the governor of the feast. And they bare it.
See, to the governor of the feast, it was the who was getting married. Shalom, y'all. Go ahead.
When the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, and knew not whence it was, but the servants which drew the water knew, the governor of the feast called the bridegroom,
Right.
and said unto him, Every man at the beginning doth set forth good wine.
At the beginning, you put out the good stuff. Go ahead.
And when men have well drunk, then that which is worse. But now thou hast kept the good wine until now.
See, in the wedding, you put out the good stuff. Dom Perignon come out. Whatever the good stuff is. When everybody's got a cup of it, then you bring out that orange horn. That he is you bring that out. But he's saying, but y'all done brought out the good stuff, you know. Go ahead, read on. Yeah. Brought out the good stuff last. Y'all been holding back. Go ahead.
This beginning of miracles did Jesus in Cana of Galilee.
So this was the start at a marriage ceremony that the beginning of his miracles was. So it's showing us how powerful marriage is, coming to one flesh, how powerful it is. And we'll have the same thing, Proverbs 18:22, the man that finds his wife finds a good thing. The Most High found us out of all the nations. He said, Abraham and his seed, that's my wife. Right there. He found us, we didn't find him. He wasn't lost.
And manifested his glory, and his disciples believed on him. That's the rest of the.
We can hold that, just hit the last one, Jeremiah 3:14, and then Matthew 25, we up.
I read Matthew.
Okay.
Jeremiah 3:14.
I got a psalm for a prayer.
We got Psalm 3. Psalm 3? 43. Okay. Y'all, we're going to get on out of here, y'all.
Jeremiah 3 what?
14.
Jeremiah 3:14.
What was the Matthew? What was the Matthew?
Chapter 25.
First 10 verses.
Matthew 25? Yeah, 1 through 12. Come on. Let's hit it, y'all.
Okay, Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith the Lord, for I am married unto you.
What did he say he is?
For I am married unto you,
Right?
and I will take you, one of a city, and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion.
Right there. So we can hold that, that's just one witness saying Christ is married to us. Matthew 25, what's that? Go ahead and read that out.
Y'all second witness with that Isaiah 54 and 5.
What did it say?
It says, for thy maker is thine husband.
Say it again.
Thy maker is thine husband.
Okay,
The Lord of hosts is his name.
that's right.
And thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the God of the whole earth, shall he be called.
That's right.
Matthew chapter 25, verse 1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins. How many? 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are going out. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell and buy for yourselves. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came. And they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. Ooh, the door was shut.
Yeah.
Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not.
I know you're not. Revelation 19:9 also talk about our remarriage with Christ as well, and his brides, his churches. So we understand that clearly.